Good morning, Misfits. It is TDS Tuesday. I am your host, Zach Bonfilio, aka The Misfit Patriot. Good morning to Amanda Collins, Bumba, Bad Mood, Fun Mon, the LFA family, Miss Mocha Powder, right, Great Guy Gary, Darlene Dubsy, Pete Year Out, and all of the wonderful people in the chat. All right, let's get to it. It's going to be a good show. Unlike yesterday, where I was basically struggling, I was struggling the whole time yesterday because I just wrapped up this job. If you're P1, this unfortunately is not my full time gig. I actually have a job, this is a real job, but this one that I do on the side, it actually is my full time quote real job, and it is quite demanding. I was doing, let me show you guys. I was doing this shower. I wrapped it up, I think, Saturday. Yeah, I wrapped up Saturday. I was hustling to the finish line, just beating my body up. And then yesterday, friends came in for the weekend. Here you go. Through the fire and snow. Oh, by the way, this was made with like that AI CapCut thing. I love how all of the people who used to like do these like videos, they used to make all these videos, like they spent so much time in like the tile space or like the construction space. They spent so much time trying to be like social media influencers instead of just doing their job, and I never did. And now I can make these videos with like a button. Voices of a no in the cold window. Probably one of the coolest showers. Shadows in the night. Yeah, so that was my my past month or so of hustling, and you just go and you go hard and you try to finish, and then Sunday my friends came over. I was like, all right, I'm gonna let loose, and then Monday showed up, and I go, all right, I'm exhausted from just the working, all the other stuff, and then I went out to the pool, got some sun, had a couple of mimosas, and yeah, yesterday I was just like wiped physically, mentally, and what have you. But I'm feeling a little better today. So we got a jam-packed show. I got so much to get to. But as usual, we start off with the thumbnail. Time to go nuclear. All right. Me and Trump turning the keys. We got to nuke this filibuster, or I don't know if we don't nuke the filibuster, I don't know if it's game over per se. There's still the too big to rig strategy. There's still the possibility of just the Democrats' whole platform being absolutely garbage. Them creating a walk away movement with the DSA. Same outcome as the 2024 election. That's what I'm hoping for at this point, where they have just gone so far left, they turn people off. And even though they are 1000% going to try to cheat, they might still lose just because they have no platform. They have no message. Let's play this game. We love playing this game on the Daily Breakdown. In the chat, what is the Democrat Party's platform? The Democrat Party's platform is one thing, and it has been one thing for over a decade. Who's going to get it? What is the Democrat Party's platform? There's always a little delay here, so they don't type it in right away. Here it comes. Orange Man Bad. Bad Moon gets it. That is the Democrat Party platform. Their platform is not, we're going to make your life better. Their platform is not, we're going to lower your taxes. Their platform is not this, and this. It's Orange Man Bad. And as we talked about last week, their new platform, because Orange Man Bad is not going to be able to be used in 2028 because Orange Man is no longer going to be there. Their new platform is going to be hating something else. I think that we're seeing a lot of foreshadowing as to what that is. Zionists, Jews, the Jews. Right? It's going to be the Democrat Socialist Party is going to become, if it isn't already, the Democrat Party. And when they run on socialism, they're running on communism. When they're running on communism, they're running on Nazism. It's all the same thing. This is what a lot of people don't understand. Authoritarian, totalitarian regimes are all essentially the same. right? They just have these slight little different like things about them, but they're all basically the same. More power and control for the government. We found something or somebody for you to hate. We run off of hate. We make our whole policy hate. And then you give us control because we make you afraid of the thing that we say we will fix. That's all authoritarianism regimes. It's all Islamism regimes. It's all communist regimes, Leninist regimes, every one of them. Every one of them. And that's what the Democrat Party has become. It's become a party of give me power because we have gotten you to hate something else. And we will stop it. We will stop Orange Man Bad. We will stop Donald Trump. All right. It always leads to the same place too. Death, destruction, famine, always. Communism. Look, there's 2 communist countries in the world. Like, I mean, real, true communist countries run by communists with a communist party. Like the CCP is not technically the people in charge of China. I mean, it is, but technically they don't say that. The 2 communist countries are Laos and Cuba. All right. Both of those countries, people die leaving. They blow up trash bags or they float across dangerous rivers or they try to get out because socialism leads to communism and communism leads to death. The people would rather risk floating across an ocean than living in a communist nation. And we are seeing the precursors in America to a major political party turning into a socialist party, which is going to turn into a communist party. It's always going to happen. And you have to stop it now, which is why I think it's so disappointing seeing the decisions come out of Supreme Court. Amy Coney Barrett siding with the liberal justices. Liberal equals communist too. But we do have one final option right here. Nuke the filibuster. You have to. They are going to do it. If Democrats ever get in power, they are going to do it. It's not a maybe. It's a they will do it. And just like in chess, there's a huge advantage to being able to go first. The filibuster is not a constitutional thing, all right? It's not something that the founders envisioned. It's not something that if you nuke it, you're like, oh, this is due. No, we didn't have it, then we had it. We need to go back to not having it. So I hope that there's a way to get this done. And I think we only have about another month left. I think Scott Presler said something around like after August 8th, if it's not done, it's not getting done. And then the only option left will be too big to rig. The only option left will be get out the vote. Take this as seriously as you can. Do not stay home. Turn off the Doomer Black Pillar slop and just beat them. Beat the cheat. That's why every day moving forward, I am going to remind you that there is a group called Misfits Midterm Cheat Sheet. It is right up there at the top somewhere. Sway.co/misfits. This is the group that I created where we can build a coalition of people in all 50 states. Hopefully, we still got some to fill out. It's pretty new, just started last week. We got 47 people in this group right now, and we need way more than that by November. What this does is this shows me where you are on the map, and it shows me how I can message you in a targeted way so you can help get out the vote in your districts. We're also putting together midtermcheatsheet.com. I'll have that done within the next week or so. As I just said, I've been hustling. I don't have any new projects coming up for the next 2 weeks. I'm taking 2 weeks off. I'm going to be working on this. I'm going to be working on the show. I'm going to be working on a lot of things. I got so much stuff to do that I've just been procrastinating about. But this is a very important one to me. So I'll get midtermcheatsheet.com. That will be a website that will have just the most important targeted races, just 18 to 25 races, swing districts, toss-ups, races that I think that we can win. And on here on Misfits Midterm Cheat Sheet, you're going to see recommendations for all races that I decide throughout the country. And you guys can help me out with that. If you want to message me on X, I'll put you into the group chat. You guys can say, hey, this is a good race to focus on. This is a good race to focus on. We'll pretty much be putting all the Trump endorsed candidates in here, most likely. Unless it's one that I don't agree with, like when Trump endorsed Tony Gonzalez, and I was like, no. He endorsed a couple people that I haven't put up, that I haven't agreed with, but I do agree with most of his picks. Anyway, make sure you join this group. It's in the Beacons link, which is right under my pretty face. Beacons.ai/Misfit Patriot. You can find all the links there. You can find all the affiliates there. You can find midterm cheat sheet, sway, everything there. But we are not going to sit this out. We are not just going to wait for something to happen. We're not going to wait for John Thune to grow a spine. We are going to do it ourselves. And that's the only way we can win if the Save America Act does not pass. Okay, so this would be great. Nuke the filibuster. This would be fantastic. We'll see, but we're running out of time. The backup plan is too big to rig, as it was in 2024. All right, now to the news. There was different headlines in each of the so this is DuckDuckGo, this is Brave, this is Google. I want to go over some headlines because it seems like there's a lot of, like I said yesterday, rearranging the furniture on the Titanic type of stuff. While I think the, story in Venezuela is important, it's not something that we can be taking too much time to focus on right now. We are, like I said, in the end game now. Here's a couple stories, though. Like Middle East updates. I get it, all right? I get it. It's Middle East updates. It's like, it's every day. It's just like the war in Ukraine. It's just like when Savannah Guthrie's mom goes missing, or a white girl goes missing, or a prisoner escapes. It's like every day we're going to tell you nothing. Every day we're going to update you nothing, right? At this point, with the Middle East, with the MOU, with the deal, let me know when something happens. Other than that, I don't care about it. If that makes sense. At this point, I don't. We have to pivot all of our messaging to how we are going to win in November, or at least the majority of our messaging needs to be how we are going to win in November. That is the most important thing we can talk about right now. So while we will talk about the Supreme Court stuff, we're going to be continuously trying to get people motivated, right? Remember the MAGA PAC strategy from last week? That was on Jeremy's show. So if you guys didn't catch that show, I highly recommend you go and check out that one from Friday, where I covered for LFA. In fact, if you did not see that, let me show you real quick right now the thumbnail that we used, because it is a banger. All right, from Friday, should be, where is this? June 26th. What was, I think I passed it. Might have passed it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? No, this was from Saturday. Who saw the MAGA PAC? Here we go. Found it. Okay. Always be ground gaming. MAGA PAC strategy for winning elections. MAGA. Motivate, act, grind, achieve, post, assemble, call, knock. What you need to be doing is motivating people to get out in November, acting. That's how we deal with this, right? Let's see. Whoops. Grinding. Just don't stop. We're going to be covering this every day, and you will achieve. How do you do it? Post on your social media. Assemble. Join the group, and we'll work together. Call. You can be calling your friends, your family, anybody you know. You can, and I guess you could put texting in here too if you're weird about calling. You can be calling constituents. You can be joining groups in your local races. You can join call centers. You can get on Early Vote Action app. You can get on the TPUSA app. If you can message Sean. Sean knows how to do all this stuff too. Knock, and that would be door knocking. These two pretty much work together. But this will be the MAGA PAC strategy for winning elections. And I think it's a damn good strategy, if I say so myself. So make sure you are doing this. All right. But let's talk about the Supreme Court issue, rulings. I kind of had a feeling that they were going to drop the ones that didn't go our way after the week we had. I was hoping that it was just like, hey, let's just keep on winning. but looks like they set us up where they were like, all right, we're going to make you happy before we pull the rug out from under you. John Roberts fought for decades to overturn Humphrey's executor. This whole article is basically a whole bunch of fluff, and then let's get down to the meat and potatoes of it. So Trump is trying to get rid of the Federal Trade Commissioner, and for good reason. And looks like the Supreme Court ruled against him for that, right? He set out to remove the Democratic-appointed commissioner at a number of agencies, including Rebecca Slaughter, who was in the middle of a 7-year term at the FTC. The commission was established in 1914 to protect consumers and safeguard against unfair business practices. Slaughter received an email from Trump in March of 2025 saying that her continued service on the FTC is inconsistent with the administration's priorities. And Trump officials, along with Roberts and many fellow conservatives, subscribe to unitary executive theory of presidential control. The justices did carve out an exception on Monday, which Roberts said in the separate case of Trump v. Cook, it's based on the country's long tradition of an independent central bank. Slaughter at a news, you know what, like this is, we'll just go here, okay? Trump is blocked from removing liberal Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board. Oh, so these are two different stories. My bad. Lisa Cook, Rebecca Slaughter, they're all just people that Trump is trying to fire. But let's go to here. I think what that story was trying to say is it's like trying to make John Roberts' decision look like it's normal.
That has to do with the ability of the president to remove members of independent federal agencies without cause. All right, so hang on one moment. Here's the headline. The U.S. Supreme Court has declined to allow the president to remove Lisa Cook from her job. Remember, they argued that, well, the allegation was that she committed private mortgage fraud. But that case, however, had not been concluded, I don't believe, in proving that she had. Now, with regard to the other case, the court does back the president's firing of the Federal Trade Commission member. Now, that had to do with a case by the name of a woman, Rebecca Slaughter.
There it is, yeah.
And the question was whether or not the president had the power to take independent federal agencies, the heads of those agencies, off of their job without cause. You know, Professor, it sounds like there's a bit of a contradiction the way I'm reading it. Go ahead and clarify it. Lisa Cook can keep her job, but others like Rebecca Slaughter cannot.
Well, at issue in this case, obviously I've not read the opinions as it just came out, but at issue in the case was a rather old and established precedent called Humphrey's executor. And in that decision, the Supreme Court said that Congress could create a type of hybrid creature within the executive branch, could create a commission that the president cannot dictate who are members of, can remove those members. It barred that. It said that, in fact, Congress could create one that insulated the members from a sitting president. That has always been controversial because many scholars and many judges have said, look, you don't see any of that in the Constitution. There's no hybrid animals. There's no legislative branch, an executive branch, a judicial branch. So if they ruled against Slaughter and in favor of the administration, that would be a significant increase in executive power.
Okay, so there we go. That's why I got a little confused here. So this article is talking about the woman Slaughter, and then there was Cook, and there was two different decisions. So I thought that I completely misread this headline and article, which is fine because it's CNN. CNN's trying to point out some hypocrisy that doesn't exist. But what was basically said there is they sort of gave Trump a win on one and not the other because essentially they'd be carving out a fourth branch if they didn't, right? And they can't have that. So the justices did rule with him on that. But back to what? Geez, I have a lot of tabs here. Here we go. Breaking from Nick Sorter. President Trump has been blocked from removing liberal Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board, despite allegations of mortgage fraud. If the Federal Reserve isn't part of the executive branch, what branch is it part of? There is no fourth branch of government. Okay, so the thing that's I read this through this from Ronald Carter, right? Shout out U.S. Ronald Carter. Nobody's telling you the real story of the SCOTUS v. Trump Cook ruling. Yes, the court ruled 5-4. Yes, she can keep her seat on the Federal Reserve Board. Yes, Trump fired her over fraud allegations. But here's the part everyone's missing. The Reserve Board sets interest rates for the entire U.S. economy. Its 7 governors serve 14-year terms. President cannot fire them at will. And SCOTUS just confirmed that even proven misconduct allegations are not enough to override the statute. So the Federal Reserve Act gives governors 4 cause removal standards, right? The same protection used to block Trump. No president in 112 years has ever successfully removed a sitting Fed governor. Lower courts already issued injunctions in 2025 blocking the firing. SCOTUS's 5-4 ruling allows Cook to vote on interest rates and bank regulation while litigation continues. The merits case is still unresolved, meaning the fight is not over. So the 4 cause standard holds at the merit stage. Then the president cannot remove federal governors for misconduct. If the president can't remove federal governors for misconduct, then the board is functionally insulated from all executive accountability. If the board is insulated from all executive accountability, then the institution that controls the price of every dollar in the U.S. economy answers to no elected official. This is the part that's kind of important and wild. If the institution that controls the price of every dollar answers to no elected official, then the constitutional question the source tweet is asking is, what branch is the Fed? They have no clean answer under the current law. So essentially, the SCOTUS is like saying there's no 4th branch, and that's the reason for their ruling, but they are having a branch off where there's no control over them in the executive. So again, yeah, which branch is the Fed? Because I thought it was supposed to be ruled under the executive. And if it's not ruled under the executive, then essentially that's how they circumvent the president. This is what when you see federal judge blocks Trump. Every time you see federal judge blocks Trump, that's under the judiciary, right? It's like the judiciary is separate from the executive, right? Which makes perfect sense, right? Now, even though I don't like these activist federal judges that are doing that, they are ruling under the judiciary. The Fed should be ruling under the judiciary as far as I know. So if they rule against Trump and Trump has no power of the executive, I keep saying Trump, but in other administrations this could be the same thing. If they have no oversight or no way to get rid of them, despite allegations of misconduct, despite going through fraud cases, etc., then that's a pretty big problem. And I think the Supreme Court ruled wrong on this. And here's why the Supreme Court ruled wrong, right? Every time you see the 5-4, right, it was really 4-1. All right. The liberal justices on the Supreme Court are going to rule with the Democrat, with their side, anything that's going to be against Trump most of the time. 99.999% of the time, every time, right? Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sotomayor, they are not ruling. They don't show a pattern of ruling objectively, right? They are always, almost always ruling with their side, not with the Constitution, with their side. However, just like on the right, with infighting, with our own very varying opinions, the conservative justices sometimes they disagree with each other. So you have 3 justices on the Supreme Court who are going to rule based on politics 99.9% of the time, and then you have the conservative justices who every once in a while will disagree and there'll be dissenting opinions, because they're interpreting the Constitution, the law, however they think. And I think that they're actually doing their job, but I also don't want them to just be ruling based on politics as well. But when you see 5-4, it's not 5-4. It was 4-1 and 3-0. because the guaranteed votes are always going to be with the liberal justices. That's why even though the Supreme Court, we have a majority, right? We do have the majority, but we don't really have as much of an advantage with our majority as you would think, because we can almost never rely on the 3 votes on the liberal side. Almost never. So we have to almost sweep every time. We have to almost have the conservative justices looking at it for our side every time. So like, and I think that there's a lot of people that will attack Amy Coney Barrett or Roberts or something like that because they turned on the party or turned on Trump or whatever. And it's like, maybe they really are just honestly interpreting that how they want, and they're being objective. But even if that's true, it's like that screws over the entire country, because you have 3 justices on the liberal side who are going to vote in lockstep almost every time. The only time they've ever dissented is when it's like blatantly glaringly obvious. When there's like a 9-0 decision or an 8-2 decision, it's like it would be wild if they ruled, and sometimes they still do. So it's important to remember that, because when we keep talking about, oh, the justices, they screwed us over, it's like, I mean, yeah, they did, but at the same time, Roberts might actually truly believe what he's saying here. He's probably not. Amy Coney Barrett might truly believe what she's saying. There might not be like any nefarious intent here, but we don't really have a 9-seat Supreme Court. We have a 6-seat Supreme Court of true justices who are going to try to rule based on the law, and then we have 3 activists that are in there. And that's scary, because the left's plan is to pack the Supreme Court with 9 activists, right? That's what they want to do. And if we don't nuke the filibuster, if we don't start taking this seriously, take everything seriously, we are in trouble. So, like I said, like I keep saying, we are in the end game now. Like, the next few years are going to define this country, and I think we will, but I hope it all works out right. So, Stephen Miller does a good job here of kind of, like putting this whole thing together, right? Nuking the filibuster is not a reactionary thing. It's a precautionary thing, right? Like I said earlier, if the Democrats in the Senate take the majority, they will nuke the filibuster. It's not a maybe. It is a guarantee, right? It's not a constitutional thing, so nuking the filibuster is not like something that people on the right need to argue against because of some constitutional or moral thing. It's a political tool that is not working in our favor anymore. It was a check and balance to keep the other side from going too far. Now it's going to hurt us if we don't get rid of it. Acknowledging that, recognizing that, and making sure that it is gone before we give power back to a party that will get rid of it. It's self-preservation at this point, right?
And one more point on this, Laura. This is existential for this country. You've covered more than anybody. Should the Democrats regain power, it's game over. 12 more justices on SCOTUS, 2 new Democrat states. They're going to get rid of the Second Amendment. They're going to get rid of our borders. They're going to get rid of our police. They're going to get rid of ICE, Border Patrol, DHS, and they're going to elect communists, like actual communists, Laura, not even socialists, communists, who will wreck this country.
Now, I want to move back.
And one more point on this, Laura. This is existential for this country.
When people say that, like, when people hear these, like, this is what they're going to do, and then rattle off a list, they go, oh, it's fear-mongering. He's not wrong. They're going to try to do all of that. There are still checks, and there is still veto power. There's still this, that, and the other, but it gets us dangerously close to giving people who just voted in their primaries, Democrat socialists, a Democrat socialist, right, which is an Islamo-Marxist, as running the largest city in the country, voting in their primary a guy with a Nazi tattoo who's clearly a Nazi. Like he clearly is. He's also weird. Voting in a guy who supported the terrorists in the 1993 World Trade Center attacks. Voting in Jay Jones, who was caught texting like about how he wanted to murder his political opponent's family, their family, their kids, everybody. They are not slowing down. They're showing you, if you give us power, this is what we're going to keep doing with it. They are overrun by the radical base that they have. So again, nuking the filibuster is a self-preservation tool at this point, because this is not fear-mongering. He's telling you what they will do, not a possibility, not like this is not fear-mongering. This is not like, hey, this is crazy. Like the Republicans will put you back in change, and Donald Trump and blah, blah, blah. It's not what they've done for the past, 2-3 decades. They've basically tried to fear-monger their base. We are trying to warn our base, the people in our party, the moderates, everybody, what will happen. They need to take it seriously. All right, from Sean here, pass the Save America Act. It has to be done since Amy Coney Barrett is a piece of human garbage. I kind of disagree with Sean here. I think that it's possible. It's possible that Amy Coney Barrett is a piece of human garbage. She's ruled in very crucial cases against the administration, and it's like very crucial cases a few times. Mostly she rules pretty conservatively, but it does beg the question, right? Like, is she ruling based on the Constitution, or is there something else going on, right? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know for sure, but I don't necessarily think that Occam's razor would suggest it, right? I don't think that. I think you'd have to start getting into conspiratorial territory if you wanted to go that way. I think it's more likely what I said earlier. We have 6 justices who are interpreting. And when you interpret, you're interpreting it based on what you think, right? If you're truly doing that, I might interpret something different than you. You might interpret something different than me, right? That's a possibility. We have 3 justices who do not try to interpret the Constitution. We have 3 justices who try to make their rulings sound constitutional based on politics. Is Amy Coney Barrett doing the same thing? Maybe. Maybe. She actually might be doing that. But it's not necessarily guaranteed. You guys might not like to hear this. It could be she's a woman, right? Like, that might sound sexist and like, misogynist, but it's not. It's actually just factually accurate, right? Women are more emotional. Women make decisions on for different reasons than men. There's a lot of people who make the argument why the 19th Amendment was a mistake, because if you look at the way this country votes, if women did not vote, we would be a conservative every time country. Like, there would be no Democrats wins in this country if women didn't vote, right? Do I think women should be able to vote? Sure. Yeah. I mean, we voted on it, the equal rights, et cetera, et cetera. However, it is undeniable that women vote a certain way because women are easily emotionally manipulated because of their natural biological imperative to be more emotional creatures. So could Amy Coney Barrett be voting because the way she's reading the Constitution is just she's leaning more towards that, emotional interpretation instead of objective? Possible. But this is from Trump. In light of tremendous loss in the Supreme Court today concerning voters' rights, and the fact that the quote people's votes are allowed to be counted long after an election is over, it is more important than ever to pass the Save America Act, which is all voters must show ID, all voters must show proof of citizenship, no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. This is 3 common sense things. There's no excuse for a politician or otherwise to be against the above 3 requirements. The only reason to oppose is cheating. House of Representatives has approved this vital act 3 different times, and the U.S. Senate seems unable to do so. In a time when there is a powerful communist movement taking place in our country, one more dangerous than a World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or September 11th, all Democrats and our 5 Republican Senate holdouts, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Tom Tillis, Bill Cassidy, and Mitch McConnell must vote to save our country. There can be no more excuses. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Yeah, he's right. I mean, we need 50 votes we need 60 votes to nuke the filibuster. And I think that we would probably have maybe Fetterman, maybe. So I think we need what, 3 or 4 of these. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'd need 4 plus JD tiebreaker. And I don't think we're gonna get there. So I don't know how we're gonna do this, but I mean, keep pressuring Thune. Everyone becomes Scott Pressler, and keep pressuring Thune, and maybe he'll be able to whip them, because that's his job. The leader's job is to whip their party, and whip means crack the whip, means get them in line, means figure out a way, like offer them something, negotiate, right? Make a deal. That's your job, Thune. Your job is to get these people on board. You can't just keep saying, we don't have votes, so there's nothing I can do. No, there is something you can do. You're not doing it. That's why you got to go, bro. Because you're even if you were to somehow pull this off after all of the time and pressure and the excuses that you've made, it's clear that this is not the job for you. The Supreme Court has also rejected Trump's push to toss a $5 million verdict in the E. Jean Carroll sexual abuse case. Scott Jennings brings something up. You know, the left has been talking about how we need to pack the Supreme Court because they're ruling in Trump's favor, which is projection. Because, like I said earlier, their 3 justices rule based on politics, not constitution. So they think that they can sell everybody on the other side doing the same thing, which is why I'm trying to tell you don't do that, right? Because if you keep on saying that Amy Coney Barrett or John Roberts, or every time they vote against you, if you keep saying that it's based on politics, you're actually discrediting the whole court, and you might actually give credence to the argument that it should be packed, right? But if you look closely, it's not. It's more like there's some definite key and crucial rulings against Donald Trump. So there's actually no reason to pack the Supreme Court. You take away the Democrats' argument when they rule against Donald Trump. That's the only silver lining. But here's Scott Jennings. Funny, I was told repeatedly on live TV that the Supreme Court is a wholly owned Trump subsidiary. Therefore, it must be expanded immediately by somewhere between 4,000 and 4,000 new liberal justices. This is the way you message this, right? Instead of saying, "Oh, the Supreme Court's broken," right? Just be like, "Well, if the Democrats' plan is to pack the Supreme Court, they're not really proving why they should be able to." Right? Take the losses and say, "Okay, yep, they didn't rule our way," and make something useful out of it, like sending the message that there's absolutely no reason for the left's argument that you need to pack the Supreme Court. Because they do rule against Trump. They do rule against the administration. Okay, we already went over this one. The Save America Act is simple. This is from John Kennedy. Go back to election day, not election month, and require voters to prove they are who they say they are. This is how we earn back the American people's trust. It's an 80-20 issue, guys, and if they don't pass it, then yeah, we are losing. They are losing the trust of the American people. John Thune is right now wholly responsible for whether or not his own party trusts government. Get it done. But let's listen to this from John Kennedy.
As to the SAVE Act, I think we ought to pass it. The SAVE Act, to me, I'm a co-sponsor. It means two things. It means that to vote in America, you have to prove you are who you say you are to be able to vote. You have to have an ID at the polls, and you have to be an American citizen. And number two, it means that we ought to go back to having an election day, not an election month. We need to know who the winner is on election night. As to the SAVE Act,
pretty straightforward, and it's amazing that we are actually at a point where we're arguing about that. We'll get to the Levin tweet in a second. Here it is, but check this out. From Beau French, do you know how easy it is to backdate a postmark on a ballot? This is pure lunacy. We literally just saw in the California mayoral election, we saw them essentially steal the primary from Spencer Pratt because they accept quote backdated mail-in ballots for like up to like 30 days after the election. It was statistically impossible for Spencer Pratt to go from the number 2 position to being knocked out by the socialist candidate, right? That was in the race. The socialist candidate had a concession speech on election day because even they didn't know what was about to happen because they knew it was statistically impossible for them to come back. Yet they did, right? So this from Fox News. The Supreme Court has ruled against us. I actually thought they were going to rule for this one. I was actually surprised that they ruled for this one. This is where people are getting really upset about Amy Coney Barrett. I don't think that she ruled properly. I'm not saying that it was for some nefarious reason. I'm saying maybe it's because she was a woman. Maybe it's because she just isn't as good of a constitutional, a constitutional interpreter as we thought she was. I was really excited when Trump nominated her, but, she's become a disappointment, right? She's become a disappointment, and it is what it is. But as I've said many times in this country, I do believe in the system, even though when the system's broken or slightly rigged, I do believe we have to sort of just accept that that's what happened and then change strategy, move on, and figure out how to legally, constitutionally win in the future. But here's the ruling, the summary of the ruling.
All right, guys, this is not a win for Republicans who were challenging this. Mississippi has a state law which allows ballots to be counted, mail-in ballots after Election Day if they come in, they're postmarked, and meet the state requirements. But it is a 5-4 loss for Republicans, and an interesting cobbling together of who wrote on this. Justice Barrett wrote the opinion. Justice Roberts joined her along with Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson. So those 5 stuck together on this. The dissent comes from Justice Alito. Thomas Gorsuch and Kavanaugh join him. And essentially what the majority said is that these federal statutes setting Election Day don't prescribe or they don't stand in conflict with states that want to say, okay, we have a procedure to count ballots after Election Day. Justice Alito, writing for the dissent, says today's decision is inconsistent with the terms of the Election Day statutes, contemporary election law principles, 2 centuries of historical practice, and the case law on the question presented. So if you're a state out there that counts ballots after Election Day based on your state law, that state law will stand. We wait on more opinions now, guys. More to come.
So, Shannon, that means, for example, in California, where it takes them forever to count ballots, this doesn't help that situation at all, right?
It does not, because basically they're deferring to the states on when they can count those ballots after Election Day. They say the federal statute may set Election Day, but these states that have allowed for procedures outside of that and the way that they collect and how and when they collect those ballots, those state laws are going to be good. Mississippi was the state here, but yes, this will apply to places like California as well.
Well, that's that basically just means that they gave states more power over the federal government for federal elections, which I don't know how that doesn't conflict with the supremacy clause, right? Because the states can obviously run their own elections. They can do it the way they want. That's in the Constitution. But these are federal elections. These have the federal races for the whole country essentially, and they affect the whole country. So yeah, and there's people in the chat that say, like, I don't think Amy Coney Barrett is voting with the Constitution. Maybe she's a chicken, et cetera, et cetera. Again, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But at this point, I don't know if taking that strategy is like going to be helpful. Just hope that we can pressure over the next few weeks Thune to crack the whip or some type of circumventing so that we can get the Save America Act passed, because she didn't help us. And if we can't, then it's going to be back to too big to rig until we can get this fixed. Like we don't quit. We keep trying. We try and try again. That's how this works. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So we are trying everything, and we are going to be disappointed. We are not going to always get what we want, but we have other options. So focus on that. Time is running out, correct, but hasn't run out yet. It's not over till it's over. And even when you think it's over, it's not necessarily over. A lot of people thought that when the election was stolen from Trump in 2020 that it was over, right? Yet here we are with another chance to save America. Don't ever give up. Don't ever become a doomer, a black pillar. Don't ever be demoralized. Fight, and keep fighting. And worst case scenario, I'm talking worst case scenario, the very worst case scenario. Everything behind me, right, is pretty much what you should be focusing on, right? America, Jesus, guns, right? Capitalism, and grabbing the bull by the horns. All of that, I don't know if you guys noticed that all that's intentional, right? Everything behind me has sort of a meaning. But no, I mean, worst case scenario, there's always the whenever what is I'm going to butcher the quote from, I think it was from Reagan, where whenever any form of government becomes tyrannical, it is the duty of the people to overthrow that government and install a new one that represents them. There are ways to do that. We have guns. I'm not saying use them. I'm saying we have them. We have more than them. Joe Biden, oh, we got F-16s, man. Oh, okay, cool. The Taliban didn't. Al-Qaeda didn't. Yeah. How'd that go? How'd Afghanistan, how'd your F-16s hold up against people in the Middle East with Chevy pickup trucks and AK-47s? That's a last resort, by the way. I don't ever, push that. I just tell you that it is an option. You can get some founding father energy in you in the absolute worst case scenario, and we are a long ways away from that. All right. So from Mike Lee, Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Barrett made America far more vulnerable to election fraud today. They didn't make it far more vulnerable. They made us as vulnerable, which is very vulnerable. That makes the Senate's reluctance to pass Save America Act even more baffling and inexcusable. We have to pass this bill. Again, this is not fear-mongering. This is a true statement. We have to pass the Save America Act. We just have to. It's like it's not. This is. I mean, like I said, there is a secondary option of too big to rig. But if that's how we run every election, if that's how we think of every election in this country moving forward, where it's like, okay, one side cheats a lot, and so in order for us to win any election, we have to make it too big to rig. We have to work 3 or 4 or 5 times as hard because we don't have fair elections. We have to literally motivate people and say the only way you're going to win this rigged game is by winning an unfair game by being like working 10 times as hard. It's like that. There's a lot of people that won't do that forever. And that's how you do demoralize people. You're like, oh, is it even worth it, man? Is it even worth it? Yeah, it is. But when you're just outnumbered and when all the odds are stacked against you, there's a lot of people that will not think that it's worth it. I mean, I do. I hope you do. I can keep trying to motivate you, but it's an uphill battle for sure. And I just want, all we want is a fair playing field, a fair game. Just let the best man win. Stop rigging this freaking system. It's an 80-20 issue for a reason. Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas, by the way, he's just, every time. I wish that we could just clone him and make all 6 conservative seats him. But actually, all 9. We'd be fine. But Clarence Thomas, this clip is just a little bit funny. I mean, we're getting to the end here. I have a couple of little stories, but just wanted to end this on kind of like a fun note with all the Supreme Court stuff. But here's Clarence Thomas being questioned by a reporter.
I guess so.
Justice Thomas, can we ask who you were meeting with today?
What'd you say?
Can we ask who you were meeting with this afternoon?
What'd you say?
Who were you meeting with this
Oh,
afternoon?
nobody.
You weren't meeting with the speaker. You were in.
Oh, God, no.
So what are you doing up here?
Oh, just walking.
No meetings in particular.
I'm going to tell you about.
Tomorrow's going to be a big day at the court, huh? Final day of decisions.
Oh, I guess so.
You want to give us a sneak peek of some of the decisions?
Nope.
But you can't tell us why you're up here today. Who you're meeting with? Who are you meeting with, sir? Were you up here for any particular reason? No info on who you may have been meeting with? Anyone in House GOP leadership? That's who has offices in there. Any matters you were up here discussing? Any comment on today's decisions and the end of the Supreme Court term?
Look at him just laughing at him.
Questions.
And any comment on the end of the term?
You have good questions.
Do you want to answer any of them? Any
No.
comment at all?
No. I love that. That's how you deal with these people. Just be like, you have great questions. Just keep laughing at them. They're trying to insinuate that that Clarence Thomas is like meeting with leadership and like how like it's insane. No. I was gonna get to this one, so we'll throw it in here. Mark Levin, this is from this morning. So there is one more coming up that, and this is the one that I was actually thinking that we probably won't win. And we probably, I mean, maybe we will, but we can hope that this decision comes through because this would be a game changer. The birthright citizenship, that should be coming down today. Everyone said yesterday, the day before, today. It's coming down any minute now. But I've been writing, this is from Mark Levin. I've been writing and speaking about the farce that is birthright citizenship literally for decades in my books, online, on radio, and on TV. Today's Supreme Court decision will determine whether citizenship survives in this country, particularly given the exploitation of birthright citizenship by those seeking to destroy our nation under no twist of logic or reason, and that includes legal doublespeak dressed up as constitutional arguments, should this practice continue. I'll have much more to say once the decision is released. Essentially, in the 14th Amendment, you got the what is a citizen of the United States, and then they included to add, the children of slaves in the birthright citizenship clause. That's what it was for, and now it has become abused and hijacked by people who flood into this country and have a baby, and then they go, that baby's a citizen, right? Now, if you are born in America, right, should you be a citizen is the question, right? Objective, like if you simplify it and dumb it down to that, yes, right? But if you break into somebody's house, should you be the owner of that house? Should you be on the lease, right? Like if you come in a legal way with legal intent to legally occupy a domicile, should you be the legal occupant of that domicile? Absolutely. But if somebody broke into my house and just had a baby, they'd be like, this is that baby's house now. I don't think that that would apply. I think that you have to look at the intent of why that person is a resident and go, okay, if that person came here with the intention of having a baby so that they could become a citizen, I don't think that you should be a citizen. I think that there should be a clause on that where we have to look at naturally born as opposed to like naturally born, like that this was a natural birth of an American in America between two American parents who had a baby in America versus somebody who is like, yeah, I'm just gonna, you're born in America. We figured out a way to rig the system to get you in. So we'll see how the Supreme Court rules on that. A lot of people are saying that they're not going to rule the way we want. So we'll see. All right, now with a couple minutes left, just real quick. One of the TDS leaders, Caitlin Collins, says Democratic socialism is not communism. Leader of the Democratic Socialist Association, our goal is communism. So anytime you hear Democratic Socialist, you are hearing communist. That's what you're hearing. It's communism. And I was going to try to quickly sneak this one into Michael Knowles is just, I just wanted to bring this up because Michael Knowles is still not calling out Candace Owens, and he's saying like, okay, so I'm accused of being reticent to talk about because I don't want to offend, but his argument is, do you really think you're going to try to get Candace to stop speaking just by complaining about her all the time? That'll only help her grow, and that's exactly what she wants you to do. I was assailed for making that observation. Nobody took my advice. Everybody did the other strategy, and the problem only got worse. To Michael Knowles and anyone else, Sean talks about this all the time, right? If you have a flat tire and you don't address the tire, if you have cancer and you don't address cancer, it grows whether you talk about it or not. But if you talk about it, you might actually get people to try to treat the problem. So when you hear Michael Knowles and anybody else making these strategies, then my counter argument would be, do you really think talking about the Supreme Court decisions, do you really think talking about the Democratic Socialists of America, do you really think talking about the left and their violence, do you really think talking about illegal immigration, do you really think talking about all the other problems that we have in this country, do you really think all those, if you talk about those problems, you're going to stop those problems? Get out of here with that argument. You don't want to talk about Candace Owens because she's your friend and you're a coward. That's why. If you apply that same logic to every other thing that you talk about things in order to stop the problem, right? The problem does not get bigger when you don't talk or when you talk about it, right? Sunlight's the best disinfectant. You guys got to start growing a spine on not just Candace Owens, not you guys, but you understand what I mean. Not just Candace Owens, but every problem in America. The answer is always more talking about it. So, Sean Farish is coming up next with Ungoverned. I will see you tomorrow for Woke Wednesday. Thank you for showing up for the day. Whoa, what the hell just happened? Studio mode, I hit that button by accident. Thank you for coming to the Daily Breakdown, TDS Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow, and Sean is up next. Enjoy the show. Peace.